Tired of being broke and living a boring life, one middle school teacher decides she'll stop at nothing to land a rich man. When a wealthy new teacher shows up at her school, she makes it her mission to win him over, no matter what it takes. From bribery to blackmail, bad behavior has never looked so good. Elizabeth is a middle-aged woman who works as a teacher at a junior high school. Due to her profession, one would assume she's nurturing and responsible, but it's quite the opposite. In reality, Elizabeth is a reckless and abrasive woman. She curses at the students and makes them watch movies in class most of the time. She's frequently under the influence, either alcohol or narcotics. Elizabeth has only one goal in life: to marry a wealthy man and drain him of every dollar. In short, she's a gold digger. Apparently, she's dating the son of an extremely affluent businessman, and things seem to be going her way. One day, with unearned confidence, she quits her job at the school, believing she no longer needs to work. However, when she arrives home, she finds her boyfriend and his mother waiting for her. In a dramatic twist, the man confesses he no longer wants to marry her. He's finally realized she's only been after his wealth. Over the months, Elizabeth had stolen money from his wallet, his office, and even his mother's room to buy lavish things for herself. She tries to deny it, but he storms out, leaving her stunned and speechless. Now, not only has her golden dream collapsed, but she's also unemployed. Elizabeth searches for jobs over the next few months, but due to her lack of actual skills, no one hires her. Eventually, she's forced to swallow her pride and return to her old job at the junior high. On her first day back, she runs into her longtime rival, Amy Squirrel, and the two exchange bitter insults. It's clear that their mutual hatred burns strong. After this awkward encounter, Elizabeth heads to class. The students cheer her return, but she couldn't care less. Instead of teaching, she starts eating breakfast at her desk. When the students ask for a lesson, she turns on the television and plays Stand and Deliver, the recap version, claiming it'll help their grades. Then she pulls her jacket over her head and falls asleep. During lunch break, Elizabeth reconnects with her only real friend at school, Lynn, a fellow teacher. They chat casually and Elizabeth reveals her new plan. She wants breast enhancement surgery to appear more attractive to wealthy men, her favorite type, sociopaths. Meanwhile, we're introduced to Russell, the school's gym teacher. He's had a massive crush on Elizabeth since day one, but she ignores him completely. Why? Because he lacks the one thing she values: money. One day, a good-looking man named Scott joins the school as a substitute teacher. When Elizabeth learns he's loaded, she immediately targets him. She casually bumps into him, introduces herself, and slyly gets him to reveal his relationship status. He's single. Scott even shows her a photo of his ex-girlfriend. Upon seeing it, Elizabeth gets jealous. The woman has a large chest. She assumes that's Scott's type and becomes determined to get that surgery. Later, she visits a clinic to fill out the form. But when she hears the price, $9,000, she's floored. Elizabeth doesn't even have $50 to her name, so the plan's on hold. That night, she calls every friend and contact she has, hoping for donations. But everyone knows her true colors and hangs up. Desperate, she calls her ex-boyfriend and demands $9,000 in emotional damages for calling off their engagement. But he refuses and hangs up as well. The next morning, while zoning out in class, one of the students approaches her and asks if she'd like her car washed. He explains that the class will be participating in the annual school car wash. It's fun, and last year they raised $6,000. That number jolts Elizabeth awake. "Okay, wash my car, kids, and buy me some tits." She then asks who's in charge of the event. To her dismay, it's none other than her nemesis, Amy. Still, Elizabeth refuses to let this golden chance slip by. She heads to the principal's office and begins seducing him with her charm. Once he's hooked, she suggests he assign her to oversee the car wash instead of Amy. He agrees without hesitation. The following morning, Elizabeth arrives at the event, wearing the most revealing dress she can dig out of her closet. She begins washing the cars, deliberately splashing water on herself in a provocative manner. The women around are appalled, but the men, they're thoroughly entertained. Even a passing policeman becomes so mesmerized by her appearance that he crashes his patrol car into another. Capitalizing on the attention, Elizabeth demands extra donations from the men, claiming the school is in desperate need of additional funds for the children. To her surprise, the tactic works. By the end of the day, she's raked in approximately $10,000. She hands half of it over to the school and quietly stashes the rest for herself. Meanwhile, Amy catches wind of what's going on. Fuming, she storms into the principal's office, who just so happens to be relieving himself in the restroom. He's understandably furious at the sudden interruption. Amy accuses Elizabeth of embezzling school funds and insists that she be reprimanded. However, the principal shrugs it off, stating that unless there's solid evidence, he can't take action. The next day is the school's annual parent-teacher meeting. Unsurprisingly, Elizabeth's classroom is packed with angry parents. They question why their kids never receive proper lessons, why movies are constantly shown, and, most curiously, why their teacher is dressed like she's going to a nightclub. "Don't tell me how to do my job," Elizabeth snaps, dismissing their concerns. After the meeting ends, a discreet father approaches her, slips her $200, and requests extra attention for his son. This sparks another idea in Elizabeth's cunning mind. She begins meeting each parent individually, accepting small bribes in exchange for personalized care for their children. With this scheme, she gets closer to her goal, only $2,000 away from affording her long-desired breast enhancement surgery. As the days go by, she continues being neglectful in the classroom while maintaining her new side hustle. She also keeps rejecting gym teacher Russell's romantic advances, though a strange sort of friendship begins to form between them. Meanwhile, Amy has started cozying up to the wealthy and charming Scott. They're frequently seen together, clearly enjoying each other's company, much to Elizabeth's dismay. Burning with jealousy, she vents to her best friend Lynn, who then lets her in on a new development. The school is organizing a competition among teachers. Whichever class achieves the highest scores in the upcoming state test will win a $5,000 prize. Sounds like new boob money to me, Elizabeth mutters. Fueled by greed, she finally decides to actually teach. From the next day forward, Elizabeth arrives early to class, has the students open their books, and starts giving real lessons. She assigns homework, sets strict rules, and doesn't allow idle chatter. The students are stunned, but they adapt, and their performance starts to improve. Unfortunately, time is running out. The test is only days away and their progress isn't enough. Determined not to lose, Elizabeth concocts a new plan. That night, she puts on a seductive outfit and visits Carl, a professor in charge of writing and distributing the state exam. Her charms work. Carl is immediately smitten and invites her back to his place. While he prepares in the bedroom, Elizabeth spikes his drink with sleeping pills. Moments later, Carl is out cold. Seizing the moment, Elizabeth rummages through his belongings, finds the test papers, and delivers them to her students the following day. When the test results come out, Elizabeth's class aces it across the board, earning her the $5,000 reward. She now has just enough to pay for the surgery. Let's see how far my new assets take me, she thinks smugly. Wasting no time, she books an appointment at the clinic. However, her excitement is short-lived. The next day, she learns that Scott has officially started dating Amy. They seem genuinely happy together. Enraged and betrayed, Elizabeth realizes her rival has outmaneuvered her again. Still, she refuses to give up. The following week, the school organizes a student field trip. And guess who's in charge? Scott and Amy. When Elizabeth learns about the field trip, she devises a devious plan. She injects an apple with a chemical agent and casually leaves it on Amy's desk, knowing full well that Amy has an insatiable fondness for the fruit. As expected, Amy bites into the apple without questioning its origin. By evening, her face is covered in rashes and allergic reactions. Fearing the condition might spread or worsen around students, the principal removes Amy from the trip and appoints Elizabeth in her place. In the next scene, Elizabeth capitalizes on the opportunity, cozying up to Scott throughout the excursion. That night, their flirtation escalates, and the two end up having a secret sexual encounter. Meanwhile, a furious and suspicious Amy begins digging for evidence to get Elizabeth expelled. She sneaks into her classroom and attempts to rifle through the teacher's desk, but most drawers are securely locked. Frustrated but determined, Amy swaps her desk with Elizabeth's and has a janitor force it open. To her delight, she finds exactly what she was hoping for: the stolen state test papers from Carl. With this ammunition, Amy marches straight to the principal's office and spills everything, detailing how Elizabeth cheated to boost her students' grades. This time, the principal listens. However, he informs her that he needs Carl to corroborate the story before taking formal action. Wasting no time, Amy tracks Carl down at his office and corners him. She blackmails him, threatening to expose his misconduct unless he confesses. Reluctantly, Carl agrees. Elsewhere, on the school tour, Elizabeth is thriving. She's bonding with the students, even helping a bullied boy gain popularity by gifting him a pair of her undergarments. Yes, that actually happens. Yes, she's still not in jail. Unbelievable. Russell, watching this bizarre moment, is strangely touched. He praises Elizabeth for her generosity, and she responds by complimenting his honesty. There's a spark between them, but it's quickly snuffed out when Amy storms onto the scene. She taunts Elizabeth, smugly announcing that her arrest is imminent. Realizing the test papers have been found, Elizabeth wastes no time. She rushes home and pays her roommate to deliver a package to Carl. When Carl opens it, he finds several compromising photos of himself, taken by Elizabeth the night she drugged him. Seriously, she's wild, like jail wild. Elizabeth demands that Carl make a false statement, denying he ever met her. In exchange, she promises to keep the explicit photos secret. Now Carl is being blackmailed from both sides. But after weighing the options, he sides with Elizabeth, claiming publicly that he has no idea who she is. Elizabeth takes it a step further. She accuses someone else of using narcotics inside the school, hinting that illegal substances were stashed in a desk. Unbeknownst to Amy, the top drawer, one she didn't bother checking, contains those very drugs. Soon after, police arrive at the school. They begin a search, checking every desk. When they reach Amy's, the narcotics are discovered. She is immediately arrested. This ends the long and toxic rivalry between the two women. In the final scene, Scott approaches Elizabeth and asks her out, expressing genuine feelings for her. But surprisingly, Elizabeth turns him down. She says she already has someone in her life who is smart, kind, and genuinely handsome. She turns to Russell and kisses him. The two officially begin their relationship. Elizabeth also cancels her breast enhancement surgery, realizing she no longer needs to attract rich men to feel valued. The movie ends with her promising to become a better, more dedicated teacher, one who genuinely wants her students to succeed. But let's be real, she's still a terrible person, and she 100% deserves to be behind bars. Subscribe for more wild recaps like this. Hit the bell for notifications and drop a like to help the channel grow. Thanks for watching.